So you know how everyone's been talking about electric vehicles, making them cheaper, and less of a hassle to actually live with?
Yeah.
Well, today we're diving deep into something that might actually be a big deal, a real game changer for both of those things.
A game changer.
The world's first electric car, powered by sodium-ion batteries, has officially hit the road.
Yeah, you got that right. And this isn't just, another small step forward. This
Yeah.
is a pretty fundamental change in the technology that powers EVs.
Mm,
We've got info on this groundbreaking car, the JMEV EV3 Youth Edition,
Youth edition.
which uses these sodium-ion batteries from a company called Farasis Energy.
Okay.
We've also got some really interesting data on how JMEV is doing in the market right now and some clues about whether this sodium-ion tech or even this specific car might make its way over to Europe eventually.
Okay, so big questions for today. What makes these sodium-ion batteries so special? What does this first car actually offer drivers? And what could this mean for everyone listening, down the line, whether you're thinking about getting an EV now or maybe sometime in the future?
Yeah.
First things first, sodium-ion batteries in a real car. Why is that such a big deal?
Well, the information we've got calls this a real milestone. It says this is a transformative phase, specifically for China's electric vehicle industry. It really seems like a sign that we're moving into a whole new chapter in how we power these cars.
Okay.
And it could mean some serious advantages over those traditional lithium-ion batteries that we all used to.
Got it. And the company that made this happen, if I'm reading this right, is Farasis Energy.
Yep.
And the car itself, the JMEV EV3 Youth Edition.
Yeah.
It started coming off the production line at their plant in Nanchang, China, back in December.
December of last year.
That's right.
And it's a big deal because this is the world's first Acer Class EV equipped with new batteries. Now, you might be wondering, what does Acer Class even mean? Think super compact, tiny, really designed specifically for driving in the city. It's the kind of car that's perfect for your daily commute or, zipping around town to run errands.
Okay, so not exactly built for road trips then.
Right. Not trying to break any distance records, at least not yet. But it's made for a very specific, practical purpose.
Makes sense. So let's talk about these sodium-ion batteries themselves. What are the key things that make them different from what we're used to?
Okay, so our sources give us some pretty interesting specs.
Okay.
The energy density of these batteries is somewhere between 140 and 160 watt-hours per kilogram. Now, what does that actually mean for you when you're behind the wheel?
Yeah.
Well, for a car this small, it's city-focused, it translates to a pretty decent range. The JMEV EV3 can go 251 kilometers on a single charge, which should be more than enough for most people's daily drives and trips around town. It could really help ease some of that range anxiety that people have about EVs, especially if you're mainly a city driver.
That sounds pretty practical for what it's designed for. Now, safety is a big concern when we talk about EV batteries. How do these sodium-ion batteries measure up?
Yeah, safety's super important. And the data here is actually really encouraging.
Okay.
These batteries from Farasis Energy have passed some incredibly tough safety tests.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about being punctured with a sharp object, overcharged and discharged way beyond normal levels, crushed, even submerged in water.
Wow.
And they survived it all. Not only that, they meet the no thermal runaway standard.
No thermal runaway.
Yeah, that's the NOTP standard. Why is that so important? Well, thermal runaway is when a battery overheats in an uncontrolled way,
Right.
which is what can lead to those scary fires that you sometimes hear about with EVs. This standard basically ensures a very high level of safety.
Okay, yeah. Knowing they've gone through all that testing definitely gives you more confidence,
Right.
especially with some of the stories we hear about EV battery issues.
For sure.
What's another advantage of using sodium instead of lithium for the batteries?
One of the biggest benefits is how well they perform in cold weather.
Okay.
These sodium-ion batteries keep over 91% of their ability to discharge energy, even at negative 20 degrees Celsius.
Brr.
That's -4 Fahrenheit. This is a huge plus, because lithium-ion batteries, they tend to struggle in the cold. Their range can really drop when the temperature plummets.
Yeah.
So if you live in a place that gets cold winters, this could mean a much more consistent experience with your EV year-round. You don't have to worry as much about that winter range reduction.
That's a big deal for anyone who's lived through that winter range anxiety.
Right.
It could make EVs a much better option in those colder parts of the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, what about lifespan? How long do these batteries last? Are we talking about something that needs to be replaced pretty often?
The info we have says that their cycle life satisfies the needs of electric passenger vehicles and two-wheelers. Now, we don't have an exact number of charge cycles, but this wording suggests that they're designed to last for a good long time. The typical lifespan of a car that gets used every day. So it seems like durability is definitely a priority.
That's good to hear. It's important to think about a long term when it comes to batteries.
For sure.
Now, what about the materials? What actually goes into making these sodium-ion batteries?
So right now, Farasis Energy is using a combination of layered oxides and something called hard carbon. But what's really interesting is that they're also researching and developing other materials, things like Prussian blue analogs and polyanionic compounds.
Interesting.
This tells us that there's a lot of potential for even better performance in the future, maybe even lower costs or more sustainable materials.
Yeah.
It feels like they're just scratching the surface of what's possible with this technology.
It really does sound like there's a lot of room for growth. Okay, let's shift gears back to the car itself for a minute.
Yeah.
The JMEV EV3 Youth Edition. We know it's got that roughly 250-kilometer range. What else do potential buyers or, anyone who's just curious need to know about it?
So our notes from Calpurnia mention that an updated version came out in 2025 called the EV3 Plus.
The Plus.
Yeah, and this one's got some upgrades. It's got a more powerful 50-kilowatt motor and a longer range, 330 kilometers.
Okay.
It's starting to look more like a direct competitor to some other popular small EVs in China, like the BYD Seagull and the Wuling Bingo. It seems like they're trying to become a serious player in that market segment.
Yeah, they're definitely iterating and trying to gain some traction in a pretty competitive landscape. Affordability is such a huge factor in getting more people to buy EVs. How does the pricing look for this one?
Well, the EV3 Plus seems to be very competitively priced. The comfort version came out at about 62,800 yuan, which is roughly 8,550 US dollars.
Okay.
And then the fancier luxury version is around 66,800 yuan, or about 9,100 US dollars.
Wow.
That kind of pricing could really change the game, at least in the Chinese market. Imagine getting a brand new EV for under $10,000. That's potentially a huge step towards making electric cars accessible to a lot more people.
Yeah, those price points are pretty amazing. It makes you wonder what the impact could be if those kinds of prices were possible globally. Okay, so we've also got some overall sales numbers for JMEV from January of this year. What can those tell us?
Right, so the January 2025 data shows that JMEV sold a total of 700 vehicles.
Okay.
Now, that's actually down almost 56% compared to December.
Oh, wow.
But when you look at it year over year, they've actually seen a big increase, over 48% compared to January of 2024. So it seems like their monthly sales might go up and down a bit, but the general trend is positive growth.
Okay.
It is important to note, though, that we don't have the specific sales numbers for the EV3 model itself.
Yeah.
So we can't say for sure how much of this is due to the sodium-ion powered version.
Got it. So the bigger picture for JMEV looks like growth, but with some bumps along the way.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay, let's try to look into the future for a minute. What are Farasis Energy's plans for their sodium-ion technology going forward?
Well, it looks like they're all about constant improvement.
Okay.
Their goal is to launch their second-generation sodium-ion batteries next year in 2024. And they're aiming for an energy density of 160 to 180 watt-hours per kilogram. That's a step up from what they're using now. And then by 2026, they're projecting another jump to 180 to 200 watt-hours per kilogram.
Wow, so they're not slowing down.
Not at all. This kind of progress shows that sodium-ion technology is developing really quickly. And it could become even more competitive with lithium-ion in terms of performance.
That's really exciting. It shows they're serious about this technology.
Yeah.
And it's not just about these small city cars, right?
Nope.
What other applications are they working on?
That's an important point. Farasis Energy isn't just focused on the Everett class cars. They're making partnerships in a bunch of other areas.
Okay.
Electric two-wheelers, which are huge in many parts of the world, battery swapping services for quickly recharging EVs, and maybe the biggest one, energy storage systems for homes, businesses, and even the power grid.
Wow.
And they're already getting good feedback from clients who are testing out their prototype batteries in all these different situations.
So this tech has the potential to change not just how we get around, but also how we use and store energy in general.
Exactly.
And energy storage is such a critical part of a sustainable future.
Couldn't agree more. These sodium-ion batteries, with their inherent safety and how well they do in cold temperatures, they could be a really valuable addition to lithium-ion batteries, in all sorts of energy storage situations.
Right.
It could make renewable energy more reliable and our power grids more stable overall.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears again and talk about Europe. What are the chances of seeing these sodium-ion powered EVs, specifically the JMEV EV3 over there?
Right.
Our research from Calpurnia gives us some hints on this. What do you think?
Well, right now, the JMEV EV3 is mostly targeted at customers in China. There aren't any official announcements about plans to sell it in Europe,
Okay.
but there are a few things that could maybe open those doors in the future.
Like JMEV's partnership with Renault.
Yeah,
Renault bought a 50% stake in JMEV back in 2019.
that's right.
It seems like a pretty logical way for them to break into the European market.
Yeah, it definitely could be a path for them.
Yeah.
That partnership could let JMEV use Renault's existing network of dealerships and all their knowledge about selling cars in Europe.
Right.
However, it seems like right now they're focused on other models for Europe, like the JMEV E,
Hmm.
which they're selling under Renault's Mobilize brand. So the infrastructure's there, but their priorities seem to be elsewhere at the moment.
So the Renault connection is there, but it's not a guarantee for the EV3.
Not right now.
What about the price? So
Mhm.
competitive in China. If they could offer it at a similar price in Europe, wouldn't that be a huge selling point?
Oh, yeah. The affordability of the JMEV EV3 in China around that $800 mark would definitely make it really appealing to a lot of European buyers if they could keep the price similar.
Yeah.
Cost is a major barrier to people getting EVs in Europe, just like it is in other parts of the world.
Hmm.
So a truly budget-friendly EV could really shake things up.
Our research also mentions a possible sodium-ion battery upgrade for the JMEV EV3 sometime last year in 2023.
Right.
Does that affect the chances of seeing it in Europe at all?
Yeah, there are some signs that they may have been planning to add sodium-ion batteries to the EV3 lineup last year.
Hmm.
But our sources don't say for sure if that actually happened. And even if it did, we don't know if they would consider selling that version with the updated batteries in Europe. It's still an open question.
So another piece of the puzzle that's missing.
Yeah.
What about those websites that sell stuff all over the world? Could someone in Europe just order one directly online?
You're right. The JMEV EV3 is listed on some global marketplaces like Alibaba.
Alibaba, yeah.
You can actually buy it there and maybe even arrange to have it shipped. But it's important to understand that importing a car like that into Europe comes with a lot of challenges.
Okay.
You'd probably have to deal with a lot of complicated import rules, maybe even tariffs and taxes. And the biggest thing is there wouldn't be any official support in Europe.
Hmm.
No dealerships, no warranty service. So while it's technically possible, it's not really practical or a good idea for most people.
Right. You could run into a lot of problems with registration insurance.
Yeah.
Even getting it fixed if something goes wrong.
Exactly. It's a headache waiting to happen.
Okay, so to sum up the outlook for the JMEV EV3 in Europe, no official plans yet, but the partnership with Renault could be a way in sometime in the future, especially if the demand for affordable EVs keeps growing. The technology looks promising, but whether this particular model makes the jump is still a mystery.
Exactly. The fact that we're seeing sodium-ion batteries in a car that people can actually buy the JMEV EV3 is a really big deal. It shows that this alternative tech has real potential. Whether this specific car ends up on European roads is still unknown, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
For sure. So the key takeaway for everyone listening is that this launch of the sodium-ion-powered JMEV EV3 is a major step.
Absolutely.
It shows that this isn't just some theory anymore. This is a real solution with some serious advantages,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to safety, how it handles cold weather, and the potential for lower prices in the future.
you got it. You now have a much better understanding of this new development in battery tech and how it's being used in an EV that's actually on the market. It's gone from the lab to the showroom.
And that brings us to our final thought for today.
Okay.
Considering how fast things are moving with sodium-ion batteries and how affordable cars like the JMEV EV3 are in China, what kind of impact could these developments have on transportation and energy storage in the future?
Mm.
And not just in China, but right here in your own communities.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's our deep dive for today. If you found this exploration into the world's first sodium-ion EV insightful, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving us a like. We look forward to diving into more fascinating topics with you soon.